So let's talk about that real quick. Switch.
Should we switch subjects?
Yeah.
No, we will switch to this person.
No, Handy Pino said it. It was like Switch was an unexpected cost. I very much so can commiserate with the fact that it was super unexpected, because I just kind of went under the assumption I wasn't going to get one. Like I said I wanted one, but I wasn't going to fight for one on day one. And early in the morning, you sent me a text and you're like, hey, R11's going to get 34 of them. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And you're like, oh, it's only $50 to reserve it. And I was like,
what's an R11?
I was like, that's really cool. What is an R11? What are you talking about?
You said R11's only going to get 34 of them. That's what you said.
Our location is only going to get 11.
I swear to God, dog.
Yeah. No, and then you were like, I was like, how many people are in line? And you're like, 3. And I was just instantly like putting clothes on to go to GameStop. Like I was like, I have to go get one now. I don't know why, but it's like just the ability to join in that day one fun. Yeah, I missed that on PS4. I missed that on Xbox One.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm going in.
That's funny. So let's rewind a couple days ago. We were watching Nintendo, and we were all really excited for Nintendo, but we anticipated would there be some things we were bummed out about. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of was gauging BossBattle Tim's like reaction. 31 viewers. What the fuck?
It's gotta be. That's
gotta be right. Yeah. And I was like, I could see Tim just was like, pass, and Tim things. Right. But there wasn't like a killer app that I thought Tim would get excited about. I was like, oh, he's probably not going to get one for sure. But then when I got there in the morning and I saw they only wanted $50 down, I texted Tim, and I just knew. I was like, this is like that fucking reverse psychology shit. I was like, if I tell him it's cheap as fuck to reserve, he'll be here in like 8 minutes. I was like, oh yeah, it's all actually only $50. And then sure enough, like 7 minutes and 56 seconds later, he was bumbling out of the car. I'm here.
Bumbling? No, like I said, it was the availability though. Like there was no fight for it, and Nintendo has such a history of just shafting consumers when it comes down time to actually obtain a product, that I was like, man, what if summer comes around or even Christmas and I can't get my hands on one without waiting overnight at Target for one of 3, or something like that. So I was like, man, now's the time to strike. Get that copy.
Now's my time.
Yeah. And then when I showed up, they were like, you told me that they only had the gray Joy-Con.
Yeah, which I was bummed about.
And we were like, it's what it is. I guess we'll just get that one then.
I was going to buy the neon extra sticks because, like, you got to have the R2-4 edition. You know what I'm saying?
And these colors, right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you not? And it was $80.
So the peripherals were bonkers expensive.
They're crazy expensive. Yeah.
Not cool, Nintendo.
Mike just grabbed my beard. That hurt a lot.
Yeah. Bonkers expensive. So I was like, okay. So I was also reserving it for Gordy. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll just get extra neon controllers, whatever, and like stick the gray ones up my ass or whatever.
Yeah.
And then when we finally got up there, they were there and it all worked out just fine.
Yeah, you got up there and the manager was like, would you want the new one or the other one? And you were like, you said they didn't have them. And he's like, they just became available. And you're like, the neon one?
Yeah, I was like, duh.
And then I was like 6 people back.
I was like, dude, R2-4 colors. He's like, huh? The fuck is R2-4?
Shifty has gone Ronin.
Oh, who?
Born Shifty.
Born Shifty. Thank you so much, Born Shifty.
That's awesome.
Gordy, tell him something in Japanese. Make him feel at home.
Go.
Konnichiwa.
There you go.
That will always be my answer.
Yeah. What all did you guys pre-order? So I just did the Neon system, and I did Breath of the Wild. There's nothing else that seems necessary for me at this stage.
Yeah, I pre-ordered the special edition of Breath of the Wild because Zelda pretty much... There's like a few functions to my once beating heart that made it beat. A third of it was Legend of Zelda.
A Triforce portion, little sliver of it.
A Triforce. Yeah. The other half is Mario, and then the bottom half is Mortal Kombat. Yeah. And so I got Zelda Special Edition and the console. Mm-hmm. And
I did the regular edition on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it, because the launch lineup is abysmal.
It's rough.
Yeah.
Super rough.
I think I might pick up Bomberman, because I didn't know that was a thing until later that night when we were looking at it. And we're all pretty excited about it, I think.
Has there been any discussion about what's going to be available via digital release? Like, are they releasing the Nintendo Store again?
I can't find any like solid
Like Virtual Console?
Yeah, like
They haven't
Virtual
said a
Console.
fucking peep
Not even
about
like
Virtual Console.
on Famitsu. Like
There's no way they're going to omit that, though.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's coming because they've already guaranteed it'll be there because their paid subscription service, that's like the PS Plus and Xbox One Live.
Right.
Their version of free games is every month they give you a free NES or SNES title.
Right.
That you don't get to keep, which is the caveat. It goes away after that month is over.
We did find out something interesting about that. Gordy enlightened us. We just read that.
About what?
The free game and ways to keep it.
Oh, the monthly subscription.
Yeah, like you were saying that like you can still keep that game.
So they were, I think an article on one of these sites was saying Famitsu magazine said that you'd be able to buy some of these retro games, purchase them out of pocket totally, and then you would be able to play them even if you didn't have a subscription. So that's kind of cool because it was always annoying, like when your PlayStation membership lapsed and you're like go on to play like Fatal Fury or something, and it's like, oh, we're sorry.
Yeah,
you got to pull out your.
You have to have it at all times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Orochi Oni.
What's
Hey,
up,
buddy.
Orochi?
How you doing, buddy?
Oh man, there's a lot of good people in here tonight.
I'm digging.
feeling all you.
I'm digging.
And you, Handy Pino, is Bomberman launch? Yes, Bomberman is a launch title.
It's launch window title.
Bomber, yeah.
It's a launch day title.
Let me check it out.
Don't F with me, Gordy. I know my Bomberman.
I don't think it. I thought they said it was launch window as well. Like they weren't guaranteeing that it was like a day one thing.
Oh man,
because the only other ones were like the Just Dance, Skylanders, Breath of the Wild, and then another one that was completely irrelevant. What was the other one?
I don't remember.
Street.
1-2 Switch. Let me pull it up.
Oh yeah, 1-2 Switch. That's
1-2 Switch is not release day. I don't think
it is. It's their
Is it?
flagship introduction, get your feet wet title for $50 extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and someone's asking, is Street Fighter 2
Just Dance.
Born Shifty's asking, Street Fighter 2 is not a launch day title. In fact, there's not a set day. It's TBA 2017, I think.
So we'll talk about Street Fighter here in a little bit, for sure, obviously. But what do you think about the impact of the so few launch titles? Because we were talking about this earlier. PS4 launched strong with 24 games.
launch titles
and
on
they
PS4.
were mostly AAA,
Xbox One,
including Knack. Right?
Oh shit,
Game
dude.
of the year every year.
So Xbox One also launched with something like 12 titles, and like it was a really good launch lineup. Killer Instinct Day One, fucking awesome stuff. I'm not too upset about it because my prediction was it was going to launch with the new Mario and the new Zelda. I was half right. It's not unheard of for Nintendo to have really crappy launch lineups. So if we think back to Nintendo 64, there was 2 games, Super Mario 64 and Pilot Wings, and it sold like a monumental powerhouse because it had the power of Mario 64 behind it. And Pilot Wings wasn't bad either.
Pilot Wings was really good.
Yeah.
I love
Super
Pilot Wings.
fun.
And I think that that's okay for this because they have that. We can't even call Zelda a AAA title because, in all intents and purposes, it's like a quadruple A title. Like it's when you comes down to like franchises, Zelda's like in the top 4 franchises of all time. Like that's gonna sell everything. It's a killer app. It's a console seller, and I think they're banking on that, and I think it's gonna do fine for them.
Yeah. You know what's cool though? This kind of like harkens back to the old days of NES where like games were expensive and you had to beg your parents to get you one. And once you finally got a game, you just sat down and you just played just that game until you had literally figured out every secret. You beat it through and through 100%. The game was so done for you that you couldn't wait to get the next game.
Yeah.
They're in a way force feeding that retro feeling. There's that sense of nostalgia of like, this is the only game I'm getting for the next couple months. I better sit down and get into it.
Yeah.
You know.
And Orochi brings up a good point that no Nintendo console has ever launched with a Zelda game, and that's very true. NES came out in '85 here in the United States, and Zelda didn't come out until '86. And fun fact about Gordy, tell them about your weird tradition that you have with Nintendo titles.
Oh, Zelda. I buy Zelda usually before I buy the console.
Yeah,
It's happened 3 times.
I
Like,
remember-
it's a console seller for me.
Yeah, I remember when we were kids, we didn't even have Super Nintendos yet, and Gordy bought Link to the Past and had it for like 6 months before
Just
he was able.
reading that book through
Oh,
and
dude.
through,
Yeah.
just memorized. I bet.
Yeah. And I had to save up and pay for a portion of the console sometimes or whatever. Actually, just 64 on that, but Yeah, dude, I was all about it. I just went through that freaking book every day. I was super psyched. It was torture.
And then when you got the game, it didn't matter. Like if there was other games out for the Nintendo, like that you went, you dug.
That's all I needed.
You know, it was packed in with Mario World, but I think that by that point we had played it on everybody else's systems by then, so we were familiar with it. But you know, and that's. You know, I think it's going to just move the system along just fine. I think it was a strategic move. Yeah. Or, on the flip side, they realized they didn't have a launch lineup and they pushed up the release of Zelda to be like, you have to finish this in time for the Switch because otherwise we're fucked. Which is something we should consider, which could be scary for, you know, what did they cut out to meet that timeline of the game? You know, all things, it's so much to consider. But they've been working on it for 30 years. Right. So,
and what we've seen looks great. It very, very much has its own art style. It's not the most graphically driven thing in the world, but it still looks great. I was incredibly shocked. I just found this out just today when somebody posted about it. I didn't know this was a Wii U as well. I thought this would be an exclusive just driven for the new console.
Oh, no. And Orochi says here, Breath of the Wild, I wonder if it'll still be released on Wii U. And yes, it will be. It's slated to launch on the 3rd as well, simultaneously for the Wii U, because it was originally built on that hardware. So I do think that they probably ported over whatever they had finished and then beefed up on the new hardware.
Yeah.
Because it is coming out. And actually, Sama does point out, and this is true, that Twilight Princess was a launch title with the Wii. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah. And then, I mean, it doesn't matter to us in the United States, but the Nintendo Disk System that was launched with Zelda.
Oh,
FYI.
Oh, that's
fun
cool.
fact for all of us.
Interesting facts for you.
That's a good fact, Gordy.
You know, the one thing that they do have, and like chat's talking about it here, is that they get two heavy hitters. They get Zelda and then they get Mario. Like they have to have both. I think at least in year one in order to get their sales rolling. And they're going to have that. So I think that's going to be huge for them out of the gate. Because their investors, they dropped 6% on their stock after the actual show.
And that was probably because they were like, ARMS? What the fuck?
Yeah. But I think like if you look at it, it's got, you know, very small launch titles. Just got 4, only one of which is like considered to be like a AAA effort. And then Nintendo is notorious for having like super low product availability. So as an investor, you're like, what are you actually selling? You guys made 15 consoles? I'm sure all 15 of them will sell, but how am I going to get a return on investment? But then availability on day one was better than expected.
Well, yeah, and actually, just today, Reggie Fils-Aimé, his body was ready, and he was quoted saying that he guarantees the Nintendo Switch will not suffer the shortage problem that the NES Classic Mini had.
Yeah.
So I think they were like, I would what?
Shit.
Oh, yep. Indeed, shit, Gordy. Indeed. We say that the Nintendo creates a false demand for their products, which I think is partly true, but I also think that came back and bit them in the collective asshole for the NES Mini. So I think they really probably doubled manufacturing efforts just to make sure that everyone had the opportunity to get a Switch. Yeah. I bet you we could probably find a GameStop here in town that still has Switch pre-orders available.
I wouldn't be surprised if we could do that. We would not still be able to go find an NES Mini.
Oh, I've never even seen one. Yeah. No, that's a myth. What do we got here? Chat?
Well, yeah, let's check out the chat really quick.
Mr. Sujano asks, Adam, you got the awesome collector's edition of the Breath of the Wild? So there's 3 editions. There's a standard edition, there's the special edition, and there's the master edition, which comes with the big statue. The master edition, sadly, was just an online exclusive, which sold out within seconds. So I wasn't able to get that. The special edition has everything that the master edition does except for the statue, so I could probably come across the statue via other means. So I just got the special edition. It's like $100 or something. Smash.
Man, Roach, I would kill for F-Zero. It's such a fun game.
Yo, for real. Actually, me and those 2 lunks that I was hanging out with in line were talking about that.
Lunks. He was like average guy with like this cute girlfriend. Yeah. They were like 5'5". Yeah. You know, you're just describing them as like the Beagle Boys.
Dude, F-Zero for sure. And here's a fun fact, and it's in my notes here to talk about it. We'll touch more on it later, but I happen to wonder if there will be a focus on older titles like F-Zero, because Nintendo was quoted as saying just today that they are committed to new Metroid titles, which kind of got my little penis tingling.
That's the little buzz.
It was like it started doing like SOS to my heart.
And her heart's like, I haven't heard that line go off in years. That's hilarious.
Will they continue to produce the NES Mini? Handy Pino asks. That's a good question. Honestly, I'm thinking not. I think that was a limited edition thing, and if anybody doesn't have one, I think we'll be hard pressed to ever see one again or find one. I think that was like this is cool.
Well, normally I'd say like, oh, wait till holiday season and we'll see how many more they drop, but that's legitimately a year away. So when's their next push for it? I don't know. I don't know. It wouldn't be a strong summer thing because typically gamers go outside for a little bit.
Not this guy.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. I don't think we're going to get one, buddy.
Jimmy, no.
I'll be right back.
I don't think so either. But you know what? I won't give up hope. I'm a dreamer. I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
Hiroshi Oni has gone Ronin.
Oh, dude, thank you so
dude.
much.
Now,
Marty, say something in Japanese to him. No, something else.
Oh, something else. How about
It's funny because it still sounds like he's speaking Japanese. He's like, Olji.
Hajimemashita, dozo yoroshiku.
Ooh, God, Gordy.
Yep.
It's tingling again.
It's just perfect enunciation he had there. I'm impressed. Now let's talk about the price, right? Because the price everybody is like really split on. A lot of people are like super pissed off that it's $300 because it's not $300. But nobody ever factors this in with video game systems.
That's a good point.
You know, everybody, if you looked at a $300 Xbox, you're like, oh, that's reasonable. And like for whatever reason, they look at a $300 Nintendo and they're like, yeah, but I got to buy a game. And I'm like, and your Xbox came with what exactly?
No, so I was looking at a list. It adjusted for inflation in 2016 of all the consoles of all time. The Nintendo Switch is number 4 in terms of cheapest of all time, adjusted for inflation compared with everything else. The cheapest of all time being the GameCube, which launched at $199.
Those are gangster cheap. Yeah.
$199, and the most expensive being the television, which is if it was to launch today, the television would have been $837.
Ugh,
yeah, because it was $299 in 1980, which is fucking bonkers money back then. I think that the price is fine. Like we thought it was going to launch at $250, which maybe in retrospect was maybe like we probably could have guessed $300 because $250's like the God damn it what are the small ones that make your eyes hurt? The 3DS. Those are $199. Yeah. So it's not unheard of that a full console with tri abilities, with the 3 different ways was $100 more.
Well, I feel like price-wise, if you look at the technology of the tablet itself, that very easily justifies a $200 unit just right out of the gate, right? Like if you were to get like a decent Droid tablet, $200 is where you're going to be at. But then you can look at like including like a controller and then the dock. So $300 price-wise, I feel like they're pretty spot on with it. Games are $60, which just is what it is. That's how much games cost. So I don't think there's any shock there. But their accessories are stupid. Like $80, $80 to get another set of Joy-Cons.
And not only that, but the Pro controller, which is everything about the Pro controller is exactly the same as like an Xbox, PS4, DualShock.
It looks like one of those like generic like controllers that you get to play like droid games.
Yeah, it looks like an old 1990s like Mad Catz controller, but it's $10 more than what Xbox and PS4 are selling their controllers at, which to me is just like super crazy. I'm like,
and it's just a stock controller, like the DS4. I've always talked about this, like a technological wonder, like the motion controls and everything that's included with it, and the touchpad and like the light bar, and I think it's actually got tiny little robots inside of it, little alien guys.
It does if you play the VR.
Yeah, like according to my system, it does. Yeah. So like those things are in there, and I can get that for $40. So.
So the accessories are ridiculous, and they're saying the Joy-Cons cost $80 because they're revolutionary.
Ice cubes.
You got the ice cubes.
Yep. There's up to 3 ice cubes per Joy-Con.
Yeah. But you know what? Everyone that got a chance to play with them this weekend, no one has anything bad to say. Like everyone's like, the Switch is legit. Mario Kart 8 is looking 8 Deluxe, I should say, is really cool. People were demonstrating, and I was sitting there watching the videos, like live streams, IGNs and stuff, and they were showing off like they're playing Mario 8 Deluxe on the TV, and then they're like, okay, and they just stuck it in the thing, pulled it off, and there it was, and just like we're walking around playing Mario Kart with each other, streaming to each other's things, and I was like, man.
That's cool.
Stepping back and now seeing everything, the dust has settled. I'm
Like we can go to the park and play NBA Live.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, because NBA 2K18 is coming out. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's really cool. It's nothing ground shattering, but it's very convenient. I'm curious of the future of the 3DS now. I'm pretty sure they're going to leave that in the dust. What do you think?
That's a good question.
I saw good debates on both sides.
Yeah, me too.
So the Wii U is now effectively dead. They took off the purchase links on their website the day of their presentation. Wii U's gone. Now, but that does beg the question, because now you have a hybrid system. What's going to happen with the ultra successful 3DS?
My first impression, my first thought, and it has to do with the fact that they're pulling Street Pass. It's not going to be.
Now let me ask you a question, because you were just talking about they got rid of Miiverse and they got rid of Street Pass.
Yeah.
And I wanted to wait till stream because I'm actually not really familiar with what Miiverse is. Their like avatar thing, right?
Miiverse is their social media network, basically, in-house only, and it is very limited. And people who use it love it, but it's, they want to branch out to social media empires that everybody uses.
Yeah.
Street Pass is like a detection system for detecting like other systems around you. It has all these different functions. I've never messed with it.
It just depends on the game that you're playing.
But
I think, yeah.
Yeah, but you would like leave the system on, and it would register
footsteps and shit, right?
And all kinds of different crap. And which is fine for a 3DS, but this console only has like 2 hours. You can't have it in like a sleep mode carry it around with you
with
all day.
the battery on this, there's no way that you could, by the time you actually got to that airport scene where you sit down, it's just completely dead, and you're just like, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. The battery life is what they said, 2 to 6 hours.
They said depending on game.
Depending on game.
Yeah.
So I'm imagining 2 hours with Breath of the Wild. That looks like pushing the Switch to its limits.
Yeah. So I think that leaves the door open for 3DS to stick around, because of the battery longevity and such.
So just to catch up with chat really quick, it's like, salty, because if you decide to get it, I'm paying $300 for Street Fighter 2 and Zelda. $300 for Street Fighter 2 is roughly the same on what I spent for Street Fighter 5, and at least I get to play other video games. So I'm not super upset about it.
That's true. I mean,
Rock Socks.
What up, Socks? If you think back to... We've talked about this, Tim and I, several times. Street Fighter V is just nickel and diming people to death.
They're big nickels, though.
They're, yeah. And, a lot of people are like, I've heard that same argument. A lot of people that, for some reason, that aren't, like, blasphemous. How dare you not care about Zelda? But people are like, I just don't want to play Zelda. I'd be interested in Street Fighter, but I'm not paying $300 for Street Fighter. I'm like, motherfucker, you already have. It's the most expensive game ever made.
Like, don't check your bank account.
Yeah. So that's a good point.
Iconoclasty.
Iconoclast?
Yeah, but XI, the number. Gotcha.
The Iconoclast?
Has gone Ronin. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Japanese. Konnichiwa. Porigatere.
Domo arigato gozaimasu.
I love it. USB-C, that was a super smart choice, right? Because then you've probably already got the charger laying around, so that makes it a little easier.
And
I probably have 10 of them laying around.
I watched like a really detailed thing. So when you stick the cat and the other cat,
to make a bigger cat,
so to speak,
to make a higher def cat as well.
That's true.
Yeah,
those are the best kind of cats.
Yeah.
The 1080p cat. You stick it in, and it goes right into the charger, so you can charge your thing while it's
hand motions are like a little getting me a little up over here.
So that goes in, but you can also remove the charger from the dock and take it with you, so you can, like, if you're at an airport, you can plug in and play.
Yeah.
And so, I think they've really kind of thought through how to best make use of the things.
Right. Yeah. I was really curious about that too, because they were, they kept saying, they're like, oh, you can just plug it in and play and keep going. But typically, like, that's like battery 101, is that you don't plug in and continue playing because it's damaging to the actual battery itself. Like, tablets suggest that, laptops, everything is like, turn it off, charge it, then play with it again.
Yep.
So I'm kind of curious. I just want details on that. Like, maybe I'm just ignorant to what kind of battery they're using or something.
Yeah, it's a good question. I also have to wonder if that...
Because if the battery dies, he dies. Like the whole system dies, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's running on that battery.
It dies.
Yeah.
I wonder if the NVIDIA custom Tegra processor is a battery hog as well.
Oh, it's a
Probably.
super battery hog.
Really?
Yeah.
Because this is an NVIDIA tablet that you're working on?
Yeah.
What's battery life on that?
So battery life on the tablet itself is super solid.
Yeah.
It runs along with any other tablet. If I start gaming on this, you can just watch it drain.
Interesting.
So it is a little rough because the processing power kicks up tenfold.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's cool. Let's talk about something else I want to mention because when we were live the other night, the stream, they did not mention specs. And it was after we had turned off the stream that we found the specs. What's everyone's thoughts on its innards?
So definition was the first one for me that I looked at, and I thought that was kind of interesting that it is confirmed to be 720 on the unit or 1080 if it's in the dock. That was kind of shocking, and I think that was a more of a not a technology thing, but I think that was a battery decision to make it a little lower processing power, get it more extended life.
Yeah.
So I was kind of shocked to hear that it's 2 to 6 hours, even at 720.
That's cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, if you think about it, like if you're just chilling at home on a Sunday, and this was like my example, I was like, oh, if Lydia's watching football or whatever, and the kids are playing Minecraft, I was like, I can just sit down and start playing with the tablet to play a game, but I'm only going to get a few hours out of that before he dies.
Unless you plug it into the charger.
Right. Yeah.
So, and what did we see? What was the custom NVIDIA processor? Is that anything like exciting? Is it anything to sneeze at, or is it just like, man, it's a NVIDIA that's
I didn't see
fairly
I didn't
mid-level?
see a name on it. Everything I saw,
I mean, I'm
just
sure it's
said
proprietary to
to the
Switch.
but they didn't title it. Like I have the Tegra card, and I think it's built off of the same foundation as that, so it's probably just slightly different to match what they're doing with that system. I trust the card through and through. The card is an excellent mobile device card. So, with as far as that goes, no beef with the Tegra whatsoever. But I don't think they've titled this one, and if they have, it hasn't been released that I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe it's just like the NVIDIA Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know, something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Eat my ass, Jungus says. Yeah, okay. I guess. I mean, if you want.
That's what it sounds like. You sound like a snake.
Yeah. What? Anything else we want to bullshit about? Well, let's get into something that we can all probably agree on here. So, briefly in the...
you might not actually be unfollowed, buddy. That we started up a new channel a ways back, so this is like our second channel. So you may have just never followed this specific channel.
Oh, yeah. So we had the BossBattle Show. That was our old Twitch account. We made a new one. That way we weren't just stuck on doing BossBattle shows. We can do game streams and stuff. This is like our all-in-one channel here. So you can just forget about the old one. Here you are now. Anyway, so Street Fighter 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2, the final challengers, is revealed to be a little bit more than a port of Street Fighter HD Remix.
Right.
And there's a mixed bag. People are...
That's the line, right? Like, everybody's like, they're either legitimately saying, like, it's just a port of HD Remix, or everybody else is like, no, it's a little bit more. They added some stuff to it. Like, it's got value to it.
Vosh Ketchum has gone Ronin. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So for the Street Fighter side of things, right? I feel like it's more. I feel like I'm getting more than just rebuying HD Remix.
D3, thank you.
Yucky! The D3. Hit him with the D3.
Oh, thank you. Yucky.
Yeah, well, thank you, part 2. So first off, you can do the classic graphics, or you can do the updated graphics. And the updated graphics are from Udon, right? And Udon does the comics now. So I trust them thoroughly. Like, I think they're like the definitive art team that could have handled that. So that was just like an excellent choice to use them. So
did Udon do the original HD Remix?
No, I don't think so. I think that was just like the graphics or whatever. But Udon does the their comic line, obviously, which I have all of.
Yeah, so. And no, they're great. So I was watching a lot of footage of the HD skins.
As far as like the game, they put more into it, right? And somebody was talking about there's some different balance changes. So there was some things in HD Remix that were just like super broken. So they fixed those. Like, you can tech throws now, and obviously we get a couple new characters, right? And
yes,
those characters,
Yep.
Yeah.
Who I think we'll probably be cosplaying as like ASAP.
Like done and done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we get Evil Ryu.
Yep.
Obviously that makes us happy. And then we get Violent Ken, which is just
But and
that
so
naming. Yeah.
it's like they called the arms guys. They're like, okay, we need a name for an alternate Ken. Okay, did you try legs? No, we can't.
Yeah. So what's so bad about this version about Ken? I don't know. He's just like really mad. So he'd say he's violent. Yep. Violent Ken. There it is.
But actually, Violent Ken is not new to Ultra.
He's not new to the franchise.
Yeah, so
no.
this isn't
He comes
like
from the Challengers or something like that.
Yeah.
So he's
not
kind
as
of making like a comeback.
household name as Evil Ryu per se.
Yeah.
But
so yeah, this version of Violent Ken actually is like possessed with the Psycho Crusher powers. So he's a little different. Like he doesn't have like the Dark Hadou. He's got like more of like an dirty M Bison inside of him. That he's trying to let out.
I hate it when M Bison's inside of me.
Dirty one too.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, you don't want that in there.
Yeah.
That's gross. So I'm excited.
First thing I tell Ken is be like, Doc, go get tested. M Bison's dirty.
Yeah, he's from CVS Chaos. Potential ports of Final Challengers. I would love to see it on PS4 because if they did, it would be the easiest tournament thing ever. I think every tournament just across the nation would routinely keep that game in rotation for pretty small pot bonuses. It'd be kind of like a side tournament. But if it was on PS4, I think they would just instantly put it in to every tournament.
Oh, yeah. It won't be, though. As far as what I've been reading, it's exclusive to the Twitch. To the Switch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Evil Ryu has the Raging Demon. He's got the whole... teleport thing going on. It's slick. I'm pretty excited for it. I'm just excited to like help use that to introduce it to the next generation. Like that was the goal of Street Fighter V, was to like get new players in and be more accessible. I personally, and I could debate this all day, I feel like they failed on that in a million different ways, including sales. But I think with Street Fighter 2 coming back, you're going to have like a lot of dads playing that game next to their kids.
Yeah.
And kids are going to start to get into it that way.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Let's. I kind of want to wrap up the Switch segment with just some final thoughts on something that's kind of like near and dear to our hearts that we're all kind of like mixed bagging on right now. Now that the dust is settled, everyone's had a couple days to think about it. Where has everyone landed on Super Mario Odyssey? Opinions.
Cordy?
I'm a little weirded out.
I feel you, buddy.
It's just
What do you got?
I don't know, man. Like one of the levels look like Pikmin. One of them looks like New York City. It's like
One of them looks like it's not even finished. It was like, check out all these low poly hills.
some hills
did,
that are all
yeah.
fluorescent. Yeah,
Luis?
I'm not super excited
What up, Luis?
about it.
Sorry, everybody.
Oh no, that's fine. I'm not super excited, but I'm gonna get it, and I'm sure gameplay will be super fun.
So mechanically, it looks super tight, right? Yeah. It looks fantastic in terms of graphics. It's just not Mushroom Kingdom, and I think that's probably
my biggest beef.
That's a lot of
my
people's
biggest
beef with it out of the gate. I'm totally fine with it because, like, if you look back at like Mario 64, you were in the Mushroom Kingdom, but then you jumped into a painting and you were in like a different world or like a different take on the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like there was different changes to it. So I'm kind of just putting myself in that mindset, and it's Mario, so I feel like no matter where Mario's at, I'm going to enjoy it. But it is weird that he's so short.
Yeah.
Well, and that's, it's like...
So if he's that short, I mean, like, those are like actual size turtles that, like, they're like they're just box turtles that he's stomping on. Yeah.
Backing up, just did a couple questions in Twitch. Somebody said they're coming out with a fight stick for the Switch. Fuck. That's a dumb title. I think that's true. Hori looks like to have leaked a fight stick for the Switch, and we'll have more news on that soon, probably. So
if they do, and they have also their Hori controller, that's going to be huge because that could be a big price.
Because the Hori controller will outsell that Pro controller for sure, unless you're like a purist that needs like officially.
And we'll contact Hori, see if we can get fight sticks in house for reviews and stuff too.
Yeah. We have a pretty decent relationship with Hori, so we'll see if we can get something if they do announce any peripherals. Because I'd like to, whatever they release, I'd like to try to review, not just fight stick stuff, but their controllers.
Definitely the controllers. Yeah.
Yeah. Lewis, it's good to see you. Blah 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 blah.
I think it will play nice, and it's something different. Like that. That's like one of the biggest reasons that I was so looking forward to the Nintendo Switch. It's just like my last year has been kind of dominated by just competitive gaming, and I just completely forgot how to have fun with just playing a video game, period. I can't wait to just play Breath of the Wild where I'm not getting invites in the corner all day long, or messages and that kind of stuff. I can just sit down and enjoy an experience.
Our good buddy Slasherfic Jared, we were texting yesterday, and he was like, "Dude, just straight up, he's like, I don't get the hype for the Switch." He's like, "Sell me on it." Like, and I was like, "Look, basically, it just comes down to there is." A time and a place for like super competitive gaming and like labbing and training and just playing games that you aren't necessarily having fun with, but you want to like achieve, like move forward in your gaming career per se.
Yeah.
And there's times where you just have to sit back from that and be like, why did I start playing games to begin with? It's to just enjoy and dig into different fun worlds, play with your kids if you have them, and just sit around with your friends and play games on the couch and drink Mountain Dew and stuff. And that's, I'm excited to get back to that. I've got 2 systems that I can play powerhouse AAAs and compete and play online with my friends and lab with.
That's the big element to this too. Everybody's like, why would I buy a Nintendo to play Battlefield? And I'm like, you wouldn't. Like, that's not why you buy it. Like, you want it for like Mario, you want it for that, and believe it or not, you kind of want it for like ARMS, right? PS4 is not going to put that game out. They can't. They don't have the ability to do that on, kind of motion controls and stuff. And it does have like that childlike innocence of just enjoying a video game over, like seeing it for the first time and being like, that just looks like fun. Like, just comes down to just that word. It just looks like fun.
There was a lot of people were talking about ARMS. They were
up in arms.
They were up in arms, and everyone that played ARMS this weekend said, "You know what, guys? It's actually really fun. It's like really cool." And I was like, "Okay, well, we'll see."
Yeah, what's weird? So like when they released ARMS, I was just like, snooze. Just wait for the next announcement. I'll move on. And then I got home, and it turns out my little guys were actually incredibly excited about it. Like, they were like, "That looks great," and I was like, "All right." I mean, like, now I'm buying it.
If we think back to when we were 5 or 6 years old, and you saw a game like ARMS, you would be like, "Whoa, that's crazy! Look at their arms."
Damn right, I would have. When I was 5, cool. I didn't have Nintendo. It wasn't a thing.
Yuki says the problem kids nowadays want to shoot people in the face on COD rather than playing Zelda or Mario like we used to. You're not wrong. That's totally true. But that I think that's why Nintendo should be still a huge player in the market, because to give the kids those options and those experiences. If Nintendo, like we've all said before, Nintendo needs to just peace out and make games for PlayStation and Xbox. And I've been a big advocate of that for the last couple of years, but now I sit back and I see what they've done with the Switch, and I think about what Nintendo means as a brand. I think maybe I don't believe that they should do that. I think they should keep sticking to their guns to create wholesome, fun games that make you feel like a kid again, give kids just an alternative to being racist and shooting other people in the face and playing games that they probably shouldn't be.
There's only so many moms you can bang in a day. That's just all there is.
Speak for yourself, buddy.
And I'm incredibly excited for this system, and I'm really excited to see what comes in the next year, because it feels like even small things like Bomberman are kind of like just falling by the wayside when people are talking about like what's coming out. And typically any other day, if somebody was like, "Oh, do you hear they're making a Bomberman?" Like, if that news just came by itself, you'd be like, "What? Hell yeah, that's awesome!"
Oh, yeah. Actually, I saw Sama. It was the first time I heard about Bomberman. He on Twitter late that night. He's like, "Oh shit, Bomberman!" I was like, "What?
Yeah.
A new Bomberman? That's crazy!"
And they're doing Sonic Mania, right?
Which is cool. I'll probably get that on Xbox or whatever, just for achievements and stuff. And that's actually something that Gordy brought up earlier that he was disappointed in with the Switch, because we've all grown accustomed as gamers to the achievement/trophy system. Some of us love it a lot. Some
that's
people
just our psyche now. Like, we need that little drip of accomplishment.
And some people are indifferent to the, but I really like achievements. And there was actually a lot of speculation that they would have it, their own system, and I was surprised that they didn't, and maybe a little disappointed in that.
I wish they would have given us like a 1-up noise with it. That would have been way too gratifying.
Damn it, Tim, what's up, dude?
It's like, that would have killed it.